to see all the partners again, to be in this beautiful town, and to get the results from the research we made in Zlínský kraj. So, yeah, I enjoy everything.
To be in Budapest for just a conference to start, after having sort of been involved in the project from writing it to implementation, to see all the work in another country was tremendous.
To sharing experiences with other colleagues, not just about tools, but also about differences in educational system. And so I can see how it's going in other states, what can we do differently, and what we may be doing better.
The best moments of the meeting were those where we can exchange ideas and have time to discuss the practices, the experiences, the learning points with other partners, and also those moments where I can discuss ideas that don't belong to this project but will help me with future projects.
The most enjoyable moment of the course, the best part, is to meet other people from other countries, to find out about things, find out how they work with students, and to meet people who are working with young people. That's the best thing.
Is the exchanging of experience, so we can the possibility to look deeply at the situation in the different countries. We were in contact with another school, of another countries. So with his own problems, so it was a very good experience. It empowered us.
Something that I would definitely implement in the future is actually the empowerment of my colleagues, because I can see the benefit of exchanging ideas and empowering each other. That implementing that can actually bring a lot of really, really good results, both for colleagues and ultimately for students as well, so that they will stay in school.
For me personally, one really memorable moment from this entire trip has been the visit to the schools. I have to say that meant so much to me, because this is where the work is really at. It's where we see students in action. Particularly the second school, I was impressed by the small numbers in the class and how that can impact on individual student learning. And in terms of this project, I would be aware of how that would be important in our own school, where we would have some students in big class groups, but who may have a small voice and who may need that extra support and intervention.
The enjoyable moment was the visit to the Roma school. Very encouraging to see the assistance provided by the staff here to the students here at the school, and to see the interventions that are in place to support them and to learn about how they actually progress after they finish at the school.
The relationship that exists between the teachers and the students, and the genuine sort of caring atmosphere here within the school is really fabulous to see. Also, I thought the results of the model from the preliminary data that had been gathered, that was very interesting, obviously, for us to see that of all the factors that we had identified and the ones that actually were causing issues for our learners. So I suppose one of the positive things that came out of it for us was that it was reassuring to know that we have interventions in place and that those interventions do seem to be working. But what is clear is that it has indicated to us that we certainly have a job to do and that we have a ways to go before we're confident that we are providing the types of supports that our students require.
What I would change in the future, I would go further in exchange, because we are in the implementation phase now, and my idea is to exchange experience in different kind of methodologies, which we all have some specialty, and I think we are on that level where we can exchange those as well. For example, we have mediation, we have a new method, how to deal with problems in the teaching practice, and we can share. And I'm sure the other institutions has different interesting practices.
Things I would change is probably the timing of the conference next time. I think I'll have a look at that in a bit more detail just to make sure that that everything's covered, and I think the timings of some of the days were a little bit sketchy this time, so that will be changed for next time.
Something I would like to change is that as we have a flexible schedule, I would like to have more time to discuss the interventions, to hear ideas from other schools, to hear how they solve their problems, so we get more ideas when we go back to Spain.
A couple of things that I was really, really impressed with during these couple of days is the cooperation and knowledge transfer such an event could actually bring. I think it's highly beneficial for all the participants in every country to be able to share our experience in this field, and I'm pretty sure that we can work on it and benefit from it in our everyday work later on as well. I wouldn't really change anything about this the project or the structure of these conferences. Maybe a little bit about the schedule. I think we can work more on the first day and later have a bit more social activities. But I think as a whole it was a great event and very useful for us in our work as well.
The main point for me is that for many of changes don't need any extra money, and we already have many support systems in our country, and we just needed to use them more effectively, and I think the most simple way is the best.
I've learned one important thing, that for intervention, we don't need to invent anything new. We can use what already exists and make the most of it. So this is the most important learning point from this conference.
Our new intake currently will be interviewed next week. And so we have a very clear picture now in relation to what are the next steps. So our new intake will be analysing that data at a very early stage. So come the end of September, we will be hoping to have our interventions in place mid to late October, and so really try to address any potential problems or any potential difficulties that students may be having using the tool, and that those interventions can then be put in place as early as is possible, and then be monitored carefully to analyse the completion rates and what effects that our interventions have on continuation and completion in our programmes.
We've talked a lot about different interventions and the developments of the tools and how each country found it. So for me, it's now taking all of those shared learning points back. We will create our model with the Sandwell College, and then we'll look at what interventions we can put in place just exactly the same as all the other partners. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to the next one already.
From after this session, we need to have the interventions with the students from the Sandwell College, and to ensure that we work together, us with the college, to reduce the dropout. But it's the type of interventions with the resources we have, how we can work most effectively.
And what we are going to implement is to show all our teachers and staff all the results we got from the Spanish study. And also I'm going to implement some management things I saw here, like the reports from quality, the reports from finances, that I think they're great, they're simple, so my partners from other projects will use it.
What I hope to implement in my own work is particularly with weaker students or at-risk students, would be to embrace a more pivotal role of my work as a support worker and as a counsellor, being more attentive to the needs of potentially weaker students, but students who are at risk of maybe dropping out, forming deeper relationships with colleagues, with management, how we can source this information and how we can get to these learners as quickly as possible at the beginning of the year in order to retain them if this is their one and only shot at PLC education.
I will be looking at, I suppose, disseminating the information on interventions at GTI to staff members at GTI, and I suppose the eventual aim will be to disseminate this across the whole Galway Roscommon Education Training Board, and this includes 60 different centres, so there's a wide-reaching effect of this project when the project finishes.
Great. Praise has to be given, an acknowledgement of the work that Eva and Evie and Naomi have done on the organisation of this conference, and it's been truly a wonderful, wonderful success. So a huge thanks to the team here in Hungary for creating such a wonderful itinerary, and everything worked like clockwork.